So yeah, moving to New York was a game changer. It's been the best decision that I've made for myself, and it's one that has been transformational. Just like the University of Louisville is one of the best decisions I made for myself, and it was transformational. But as you continue to evolve and as you go through life, you can adjust along the way, but you also got to let yourself to live during these experiences. Even when I went back home during the pandemic, and I hated that because I said I would never move back home at the time, it sucked. I had to work through like wanting to be outside. I had way more than I ever did. So I had to work through parts of me that was going to allow myself to grow to be prepared for what I wanted. See, that's the thing. Oftentimes it's like you can say that you don't want to be somewhere, you don't want to do something, and it might be preparation, but you also got to look at the good shit. Like what's going to be dope for me to work on? What have I been putting on hold that hasn't allowed me to evolve into my best self? And how can I focus on that so when the opportunity does come, even if I'm not prepared in the way that I may want to, I'm prepared enough to be able to take on this new direction. And I knew that like during the pandemic, if I was to learn how to work out, continue to work on my food stuff, like at the end of the day, that's stuff that's going to make me happy. I may not have it fully figured out. There may be a time where I fall off and slip from that, but at least if I'm continuing to build that engine up and learn how to be able to incorporate that into my day, there's going to be a point, aka now, where I got such a routine because of the practice that I did to where it doesn't feel as if I'm starting from square one. And so going back to the conversation about New York, like when I got that new job, it allowed me to be able to experience the city in a different type of way. Now, granted, I will say something I was doing was spending a lot of money on the Ubers and all this other stuff, all food and all that, because it was the part of not really being comfortable with getting on the trains and all that yet. You know, so there was a big part of me moving to New York, but still having certain type of ways, you know what I'm saying? Not really cooking as much, you know, kind of relying on certain type of patterns, because until you continue to put yourself out there, you're just going to know what you know. But you can't always look at it as like I'm not doing enough, or hey, I'm kind of staying in the same type of sector, because as you continue to grow as an individual, you get away from that. So like if I'm somebody that like I love Qdoba and Jimmy John's, there was times where back there I was ordering, when I got here I was ordering Qdoba and Jimmy John's. There's nothing wrong with that, because there's going to be the days where you go out and try different types of foods, right? You got to allow yourself to be able to kind of have some things that you do. Hey, even when it came to going out and going to being a part of events before the gathering spot, like I may have only went to maybe something down the street, or may have just like went to a grocery store and met some like something, you know what I'm saying? Or may have only went to the parties in which my friends had mentioned, because those are the only ones where we can go together. Like you still got to put yourself in zones that seem comfortable, or that seem spaces that seem common to you, because that's what's going to allow you to be able to evolve, especially when you're in an environment that has so much more. I don't know if that made sense, but so we'll talk about it from an event perspective. Like if you're someone that, when it comes to networking, say for instance, you have an alumni program from your school there, that may be more comfortable for you because you know people that went to the same school, and that's an easy talk track. Say for instance, if it comes to parties, like maybe you visited the city before you got there, and each time you come, that's the same party you go to. Go to that same party. Why? Because you're going to see different people, and there may be an after party somebody tells you about. You may meet someone that's going to give you a different type of experience. You know what I'm saying? You may have a different experience that next time. Maybe because you live here now, you're going to see the city differently. So the point that I'm making is, do those things in a new environment that feel common, or that just feel like simple or stupid. Like do those things, because it's going to allow you to at least find comfortability faster. And I brought up the Qdoba and Jimmy John's example because it's simple. Go to McDonald's. Like go to McDonald's if that's what you love doing, if that's where you love eating. Why? Because that's where you've been comfortable with. Eventually you're going to get tired of it, because why? When you go out, when you meet new people, you're going to see folks where they're like, hey, you want to go to this Caribbean restaurant? You want to go get some Italian? You ain't going to be like, nah, man, I'm just going to eat McDonald's. You're going to be like, hey, I'm with some cool people. Let's go out and eat some McDonald's. Let's go out and eat this food that they talking about. So you're going to kind of be forced to get out of that comfort zone naturally, once you kind of explore the common things that you like to do, and then certain spaces kind of break you away from that. But for me, got the new job, like I said, was spending money. I won't say heavily, but I had other debts and stuff that I had, so it still wasn't really comfortable, but it was way more comfortable, and I had way more money I could spend than the previous job. So I actually felt like, wow, like I'm progressing forward, and I'm meeting people. So this is super super dope. So when I started my membership for the Gathering Spot, like that was the biggest change for me living in New York, because the Gathering Spot allowed me to be able just to see Black excellence at a different scale, and because most of the folks are older than me, they're having experiences in the city before I did, so they're putting me on to things. People are actually from New York. People are traveling all the time, so I'm getting insight, invites to places that some other people wouldn't get a chance to be a part of. Also, because of my maturity, because of how I handle myself, I'm getting invited into spaces that older folks wouldn't necessarily invite people my age in because of the immaturity. So I'm like, man, I'm over here, and you get a chance to date women that are older than you, converse with women that are older than you. So it allows you to mature in a different type of way, because you can't just have no simple conversation with a woman that got her shit together, that's handling business, independent, you know what I'm saying, doing what she do, you know what I'm saying? Or if it's just, conversing, like it's just, it doesn't steer you away from being able to be the age that you are, but it allows you to be able to see that there's more depth to conversations. Like it allows you to be able to see a different side of maturity, which I really, really love, because ain't nobody trying to just talk about the basic stuff all the time. And you realize that even women that are older, even your homies that can be older, like people like talking about childish stuff. People like being kids, you know what I'm saying? But like, it also puts you in a space of saying like, hey, there's actually real stuff that's being done. There's actually like real money we're putting real things we're putting our dollars towards. Like, this is actually how you can evolve and be able to live in a city like this. This is actually how you can have fun and not think small compared to how it may be for me to think about Richmond, Kentucky. Like, you just got a chance to be able to see like true Black growth. So with the Gathering Spot, I think a big thing is, every month you had a happy hour. So I got a chance to be able to go to a different rooftop in the city. So think about it, a young country boy coming from a small town. Like when people think about New York, shoot, they're thinking you can only get here by when you save up for retirement. Hotels and stuff are expensive, so you got to come here if it's a special occasion. But I'm living in New York City at the time with friends, but I'm on my own experience at this point. My friends had never heard about the Gathering Spot, so I'm doing me. But I'm at the top rooftops in the city where people pay $50 to $100 sometimes for a drink and for food. I'm over here getting access on unlimited stuff like it's nothing. The country boy coming in, meeting different women, putting on my suave, you know what I'm saying, and then shoot. And then when we go, the thing is too, the happy hours were sometimes that we fully bought those out, but also these would be where like there's other events going on and we just had the bar. So you get a chance to meet different people while you're out. So I'm just enjoying the whole scenery because this is all new for me. For some of them, it's like, hey, we've been in New York, we've experienced this growing up, or we know such and such that had this bar, that bar. But for me, it was totally different. This is a whole new experience. So by me just trusting and believing myself in high school, younger, and saying, hey, I want more, then going to Louisville and making sure that I put myself in position to do more, then going through the pandemic and coming back home and me saying, I can't let myself be stuck here. I know this isn't the end, and allowing myself to continue to flow. Because I said that I would be in a bigger city regardless, whether it was Houston, Atlanta, whatever, I was going to be in a bigger environment. It happened to be so that I have friends and we were able to make something happen in New York. But the bigger thing is, and how the evolution really played out for me, is that even if you have friends or somebody that lives in an environment, you've got to find a way to make it for you. People are going to move on, do their own things, you know what I'm saying? Like friendships can change, people may get married, whatever it is. But you've got to, and nobody's going to be able to hold your hand throughout the experience. And so I said, when I got to New York, I've got to make an experience for me, because I also know that I'm never going to be under anybody's shadow anyways. And how DeMarcus has always been is like, You can introduce me to friends, you can introduce me to people you know, whatever, but just because you introduce me, that don't mean anything. I've got to be able to find what I vibe with, people that I vibe with. I can vibe with people for a certain period of time, but for me to really rock with you and for me to really enjoy, like, you got to be somebody that I really vibe with in that type of way. And so I just knew that for me finding my people was just going to take a bit more time. And it's still, even during where I'm at now, like, I ain't got no like core group in New York, but how I've been able to navigate and move through the city, like, I don't even need that. So when I do get a chance to meet people or have people come up to the city, like, hey, it's dope. But I love moving around Dolo. So going back to the gathering spot piece, like, yeah, going to different rooftops every month. Hell, I even had a chance to when some friends came in town, I took them to the gathering spot so they get a chance to meet other people. And you talking about like people looking out for you, the food and stuff free. And then even more importantly, I even brought some of my desserts to the event. I'm like, you know what? Let's keep taking ourselves out of this comfort zone. Let's see how people are reacting to it, because even when we would have some house parties, I would more so bring my desserts out to try to build an audience. But I knew that was only like one particular audience, the people that was kind of like used to coming around. I said, let me put these desserts in front of some people that's like, been in the city for a good amount of time, maybe a bit older, may know people in the space, may be around other bakers, caterers, or whatever. Let's see how the young bull can do his thing. The young and the young buck. Let's see how he can pull up with the confidence and then show everybody what he's doing. Hey, people love the desserts. People kept begging me to bring them back. I'll bring them back. People just couldn't wait to try the desserts again. I'm saying all that and kind of trying to be concise with it and not go too broad, or too detailed, but kind of making it more broad and saying these are different ways in which, as I continue to move through the city, I just put myself out there. And was it comfortable? No. Did some things take me a lot of time to do? Like, it took me a minute before I was taking my desserts outside or letting people try my desserts. But eventually I did it. And from my mindset and how I've had to evolve and have to continue to work on is that I'm someone that's going to get it done. I'm someone that's eventually going to push myself out there. And there's some times where I move at a very fast pace. Sometimes I move at a slower pace. But what always happens is when I look back, I always wow myself by how much I've been able to accomplish and how much I was able to evolve from that young kid that felt so lost. So when I think about New York now, fast forward, you go through a layoff as around 2 years and some change, had to go through the toughest point of my life so far. Got laid off, but I want to be in New York, so I had some, I had some money that I had saved from my previous job, like 401k stuff or Roth IRAs. Then I was able to get a bit of unemployment, and then did I get the unemployment at first? Excuse me. No, I had the Roth. I had some money in there, and then I had a severance that the company gave me. But as y'all know, here in the States, like, severance is only like a few months. So, and how the market was moving, the market was jacked up. So at that point, companies were posting fake jobs. Jobs weren't really hiring. So you just having a bunch of bullshit calls for no reason because of all the layoffs that was going on. So during that period, it was tough because I'm thinking I can move in the same way as I did for my previous job, where I'm putting in hella applications. I'm eventually going to get something after a couple months. A couple months turned into couple years. So what I had to do during that period as far as grinding, I thought the stuff was going to be smooth. It was frustrating at first, but I'm like, eventually I'm going to get back on my feet. What happened is I ran out of money. Luckily, my guy Eric put me on to the security work, but the security work, they weren't really paying nothing, but it was at least something for me to get some money into my pockets. You know what I'm saying? At least put something towards the rent. At least something to kind of let me feel like I'm getting back on my toes. And during that period, I was just like, man, DeMarcus, you got to get it. And it's been a tough season for me previously because that was the moment where I had to put myself into a different type of mindset, because when I would speak to my parents, they're like, DeMarcus, how's the job stuff going? Friends is asking me, people's asking me, and I'm like, man, I think it's going good. Interviews, it was some interviews were moving. I'm thinking I'm about to get right there. Shit go left. DeMarcus were not interested. Man, I had put in over 5,000 applications. 90% of them, DeMarcus, we went with another candidate. Some of them was like, we had to go away with the job title for the second. We're no longer hiring for this role. We've done some structuring inside. A lot of them was just like, we decided to move forward. And some of these was after like the first call. So, for me, I do really well with interviewing. So some of the responses that I got was crazy because I'm like, I ain't experienced this before. Then you had to like the craziest thing is getting ghosted in final rounds. Some companies I went through 4 and 5 rounds with, 6 rounds. And you get ghosted. Or you get some feedback that comes back and says, I remember one company I got to like 5 or 6 rounds with. I asked the lady for feedback because this company, they were moving fast. Like every couple of days I get a response, they want to move forward. She said, DeMarcus, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know what feedback that I can give you because you did everything right. I really don't understand what happened there. She said, but I'm just going to give you something just based off of what I think. She said, this probably ain't even going to make sense to you, but I'm kind of frustrated with the decision. I said, wow. At another company I had a friend work at, the recruiter there was like, DeMarcus, I don't even know what happened, but like, I would love to keep you in mind for future opportunities. This dude was devastated. My friend told me that they ended up hiring somebody that the VP or a high-level person or the director knew that they didn't even have no experience. So I went through situations like that, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. So for me, during that period, though, because that was the most uncomfortable time that I've had to experience, but during this whole period, you know what this allowed me to do? It allowed me to really find myself even more. So we're talking about a kid that had dreams of being in a different environment, went through high school, college, lived dope. Coming to New York, it was a dope experience, but then you going through a hell of a hurdle. But I told myself that when I go through this layoff, it's going to be different, right? I went through layoffs before, a couple layoffs before, and during that period, I was either back home or just trying to figure some things out, and I didn't really have no outlet. But you know what New York did for me? It allowed me to really fly. I had a chance to go out to different events based on the connections that I had from the gathering spots and other places. Because I didn't have no money, people didn't say it because I didn't have money. People was just like, hey, DeMarcus, come through. Come to this event. Come to this restaurant. Some people didn't know how damn bad that I was, but people gave me opportunities. People told me to pull up. People, was looking out. And I got a chance to truly experience the city. When I tell you I got to experience the fuck out of New York City, I don't know anybody around me that's got experiences the way that I have. Like New York, when I got a chance to visit was one thing. When I got a chance to live here with the friends at first was one thing. But how I had to grind in the city and how I had to move through with this recent or previous layoff that I went through, when I fucking tell you that shit was different, it was different. Because you talking about going from sometimes taking the Uber or a good amount of times taking the Ubers to where it's like, nah, everywhere you go now, you're going to take the train. Any and everything you do, you're taking that train. The only way you're going to take an Uber is if you're doing a food event and you're getting paid for transportation, or if there's an event where you can go to where somebody's reimbursing you, but you taking that fucking train every time, DeMarcus. I'm going to say it just like that. You taking that motherfucking train. And I'm saying that cussing blunt because that season that I went through and how me been pushing through, I put it on the line. But it allowed me to experience the city in such a beautiful way. The experiences that I had, the events that I was going to, me going and just seeing so much of the city, walking through the parks, going to these different, walking to the different events, even with the security work previously. Like, man, when I'm telling you, I literally walked miles all the way down from Flatbush to Church Ave, all the way down there, like far into Church Ave, all the way up through Prospect. When I'm telling you, when I had to take the train to Queens to be able to get uniforms, when going up to Harlem, you know what I'm saying? Like all that type of stuff. I got a chance to, I was dating somebody previously where I was in Harlem a lot. I got a chance to be able just to meet people in different areas. It was so much that I was like, that the city allowed me to be able to see. And during that whole process, it was frustrating. It was hard, but I kept my faith in God. But I also pushed myself to say, we're going to learn how to be consistent and disciplined. And during the first year, which was around, like, I got laid off around that, like, first year, I was more so kind of just experiencing this new piece of being, like, of living on my own. Because think about it, when I moved, after I stopped living with my friends, I started living on my own in August of 2022. No, in 2023. I started living on my own, right? No, I'm tripping. August of 2024 is when I moved on my own. I literally moved on my own, had to put $4,000 or $5,000 down to get a spot, and things was rocky with the job that I had. 4 months later, I get laid off. So I just moved to New York on my own. I had to, with the process of me even getting my own spot, the friends, motherfuckers didn't tell me till 2 weeks before we had to move out of that spot. So I either had the choice at my old spot to stay there and move in with new people that wanted to live there, or I had to grind it out and get my own spot, or lastly, I had to move back home to Kentucky. When I tell you I grinded my ass off to find this spot, I went to multiple showings. Like, I had so many numbers in my phones from realtors, just trying to, like, reach out to everybody, get denied from application to application. And this last spot that I came to was a spot. And I even had another spot that I was going to be in before this one, but the way the realtor was moving was shady. So I said, man, you know what? A week before I had to move out of that spot, I literally turned down the spot that I could have had just because I didn't like the ethics and how somebody was moving. But I ended up pushing through, and then literally the spot that I was looking at was a lot smaller spot. It was going to be further out than where I'm at now. That realtor told me, DeMarcus, I'm going to have a spot that I'm going to be putting on to the website. I'm going to show it to you before I put it on. Let's go through the documentation process. If you get approved, it's yours. I got approved. He said, DeMarcus, how long do you need? Because they had the whack-ass broker fee. I said, man, I don't know. I said, how long do you think I have? He said, you literally got a day, or I got to give it to somebody else. Called my family, made it happen. 4 months later, got laid off. So the first year of going through layoffs is me still living on my own, or the first experience of me ever living on my own, right? The first time me ever living on my own and having to go through all these different changes. But again, I got the community with the gathering spot, other people that I know, so I've been able to navigate in a way where I had to see the city for myself. It pushed me out of that comfort zone because now I got to go out and meet different people. I got to network. I got to be able to utilize my personality and my skill set. You know, I did some catering events, all that type of stuff. So then 2025 come around, nothing's still happening for us. We thought something was going to work out. Now my parents is ringing me. My family's just like, what we going to do? You sure you want to be in New York? I said, yeah. 2025 it came around. That's when the nigga said, I'm gonna be disciplined. I'm gonna be locked in. That's when I said it's gonna be real. My word for the previous years, as I told you, I had been dauntless. I said we're gonna be dauntless this time. Got into the best shape ever. Was locked in. Even going through all the BS. Made more food than I ever have. Got my own desserts, homemade, got my own recipes, got all that type of stuff. Because I worked on that while I was going through the BS. Locked in, lost 49 pounds, done lost close to 50 pounds and stuff before, done did that before. But this time I locked it in and made it work where it was just outside of a 30-day type of thing. This time it was about me staying disciplined and working overtime. Utilize my planner more. Prepared myself, worked on my brands, created logos, got other stuff that I worked on during then that I'm going to be able to utilize now. Shout out to me being able to apply for Medicaid. Yeah, I had Medicaid. But you know what that did for me? Shoot, I was able to go to doctor's appointments, get keloid surgeries and all that done for free because I didn't have no money. In New York, you can get Medicaid if you ain't got no job. Other places, you can't do that. Shout out to my girl Melinda for putting me onto that. Got the Medicaid, boom. So I said, shit, we're going to make it happen. We're going to do what it do. Went to different events. And then this is why I really started to see myself And I thought in my mind, I said, and how we moving and how we evolving, this reminds me of that younger version of DeMarcus going to the Black Achievers, going to the network and stuff in high school, going to certain events in college where I felt so nervous and I felt out of place sometimes. But this version of me now was just like, when I walk out or go to an event, I feel like I belong here. I feel like, damn, oh, they got a DeMarcus George here. Shoot, you did the right thing by allowing him to your event. Like, I'm moving different. I'm not trying to move in a cocky way, but I got to think of myself in a way where it's like I'm meant to be here. It makes sense for what I'm doing. Like, I'm not just somebody that just pulled up and it is what it is, and I'm just living life happy-go-lucky. Like, no, I'm meant to be here. So literally, shout out to my parents too, because they had to help me with, and my aunt, they had to help me with rent. But in them helping me, not because they had the money, they had their own stuff they got to focus on. So I'm like, it got to a point to where with the little money I had left and how they were helping me with the rent for a minute, I said, DeMarcus, we ain't going to be able to do it. You're going to have to move back home, or unless you got a last shot, I don't know what we're going to do. My dad and my dad would come back to me, and my mom would talk. They'd both be like, DeMarcus, we're going to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do what we can for you, but, we're going to have to make something shake. Fast forward, got a new job. December, got a new job. Already done closed 5 deals in the new job. 5 deals. You talking about somebody that was on the hiatus because of all the stuff that I had to go through. And I'm looking at other people at the company that I previously was at getting new jobs. I'm seeing all these different things happening. People getting a chance to move. People, I'm talking about making money. I'll get a chance to see all this stuff happen. See shady people getting opportunities and all that type of stuff. And I'm questioning at some points, God, why me? Like, why somebody that's keeping it authentic, real, that's not afraid to talk about his life, and somebody that's not out here trying to do people wrong, why are all these other shady ass motherfuckers getting these jobs? Why are some of all these other things happening? That's what I'm thinking in my mind. That's what I'm asking. And this is real. This is the part of like spirituality that's real, because it's like you're going to question stuff. You're going to question God, like, why is this happening in this type of way? But you got to keep on moving forward. And then when I look at my opportunity now, fire. People that I enjoy working with, the jobs are moving smooth, but also as far as how I'm working, I'm in a place where I feel like I can learn. And you never know what can happen moving forward. But the start that I've had here and how things are moving is way better than any experience that I've had in the tech space. But the whole time, I even told my parents this, I said, I know what I'm going after. And me staying in New York is more than just even working corporate. I said, it's because of the brands that I want to create and how I want to evolve. This is places where I've got to be to do that. Forget the corporate. That's a lane to be able to help you to obviously focus on your brands and be able to build something even better there. Like, it's dope that I'm able to have work and I'm super blessed for that, because I'm dope at sales, right? But I'm talking about long-term and how I want to grow. Like, it's got to be bigger than that, because I can leave anywhere in the world and work at this company or work at a company that allows you to work remote. But where I live at and what environment I'm a part of, there's got to be a reason and a purpose that I'm there. And by me being able to push through and be able to sit where I'm at now, it told me that New York made sense for me. And me going out last year and being able to sell out my events while I didn't have no money, I'm only surviving off of a couple dollars off of security, that told me that it meant that I was meant to be here. Because it's hard. What other cities can you just pop up to and have the type of traffic that you can get, that you can for some of these events like New York would give you? Or can you maybe just like pull up all these different events going on? You can walk outside and then have maybe the experience of your life. I'm living in the biggest city in the States, one of the biggest cities in the world, on my own. I've been able to now be able to finally buy furniture. When I first moved here, the only furniture I had was some of the stuff that we had from our previous apartment. I was able to buy me a new couch. I finally got me some desks to work at, computer chairs. I'm really looking at all this stuff here that I've been able to buy. Some stuff that people have been able to give me. But me being able to sit here in this seat based on not having fear and being able to move forward in the next step. Now, that's not to say that I don't have things that set me back sometimes when I think about my brands and other stuff. There's times when it comes to the food stuff, like I can hold myself back. There's times in other areas of my life where I can hold myself back. But it's not about in how you hold yourself back. Well, no, it's not about holding yourself back. It's in how you do it and how long you do it. I was holding myself a bit back from editing. I literally, in these past few days, I've probably did close to 20 podcast episodes. I've edited about 20 plus keloid videos and also food videos I'm going to be posting on my pages. It's not that you've fallen off. Sometimes it just takes you to be able to sit in your element and make it happen. The same way when it comes to moving. Sometimes it just takes you to be able to say, you know what, I want something more. It's my time to make it happen. Forget what everybody else is saying. Forget somebody else's experience or what they're talking about. There's not many people in the world. I won't say in the world. Oftentimes there's not going to be many people that you come across in your environments that will say, hey, you know what? Like, I was able to be successful by this experience. Let me show you how to do it. And here's what you should do. Many people are still learning. Many people never allow themselves to get out of that place of comfort. So that's why I do the life of a multifaceted. I'm sure during this episode, I was talking fast as hell, all that type of stuff. But I'm excited about me being able to share this because this same stuff that I'm talking about, I share it to people on a daily. Friends that I have, all that type of stuff. But I'm continuing to put myself in position to evolve. During the past, couple years when it was, or past few years, as far as, removing myself from certain friend groups and spaces since high school, since I was all that type of stuff up until now, like every single step that I made has made sense. Why? Because when I continue to evolve and the results happen in the way that they do, when I remove things from my life, that just shows that I'm taking the right steps. Because I also know what it means to take accountability when the Marcus is wrong. So when you combine those two, if I'm moving forward and certain things ain't in my life as I'm making these strides, shit, what are we talking about? I had to let go of a lot to get in this seat right now, and we still have ways to go. But shoot, it feel good as heck that I'm like, hey, I can be back on my toes, but then also working towards a lot more. Closing more than I did, it's the previous roles. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff's moving in a different type of way. And we're on that trajectory to close more than, than the previous roles. Early on, right? But when it comes to the politics and all that, like, you got to move around it. When it comes to getting out of your comfort zone, you got to move around it. When it comes to you got to stay present. You want to move. You want to do something different. You know that you're tired of being in the same space. Everybody should at least move out of their environment, but everybody, when they move, you should move in a way where it allows you to be open, and don't just move because of somebody else. Don't move because somebody just told you to move. Move and allow yourself to be a new version of yourself. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Don't try to be, try to act, tough when you move to a different environment. Try to act like you was tough back home when you wasn't. But allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to experience life. Go out, party. Do whatever. Have your sex. Meet different people. Go out and date. You know what I'm saying? Learn about your spirituality. Learn about how it is to travel. Learn about going on different trips. Learn about different backgrounds, religions. Learn about different types of food. Learn about spending time with yourself. Learn how to be able to get past your traumas. Learn how to be able to have healthier conversations. Learn how to be able to not avoid conflict and actually talk things out. Learn how to manage your anger, how to hold yourself accountable. Until you are able to really get outside of places that you're comfortable with and people that you're comfortable with, you won't be able to do a lot of those things that I mentioned. So hopefully this episode here made sense to a lot of folks. If it didn't, maybe that's going to take you time to really get out of your element to learn who you are, because once you do that, it will make sense to you. And you'll be able to look back and you'll be able to tell your story and having regrets. We all can get at the points where we have regrets, but does the regret keep on regretting? you can have a regret because you did something right now, and then once you get over something and once you have a conversation, it goes away. But imagine I look at it like this. I don't want to have a regret, especially on doing something for my life when that's something that I really wanted to do. That's why I'm pushing myself so much with my brands. Like, I can't just sit here and say, man, I never even tried to scale a business at all. Like, if I'm not even trying it, hey, I can't say that, man, I have regrets of never moving if I've never even like tried to move. Like, some things can maybe just happen and you're just like, man, I wish it didn't go that way. But like, to have all these goals and dreams that you don't even try because you're scared of fear or being uncomfortable, like, you're wasting your own time and energy. So it's your boy DeMarcus. Man, I really push y'all to move out of your town, move to a different environment, move somewhere that allows you to be free, and that allows you to flow, and that allows you to evolve, not even into a version that you may not even know yet, but a version that you believe you can get to. I've been able to evolve in beautiful ways, but also like, I knew for myself the type of person that I wanted to be and the value that I had. And it just took certain steps to be able to open it up for me. And I'm only 29, about to be 30 in a few weeks. I'm doing this early. So it's about you continuing to do. You got to be a doer. You've got to be a doer, because that voice inside of you, that younger version of you, would truly appreciate if the older version of you actually does the things that younger version was hoping you can do and set out for you to do. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment for me. If you're someone that's moved out of your environment, talk about that. If you're someone that hasn't, but you're looking to do that, like, share that too. Maybe I can give tips. Maybe some people in the comments or folks can give tips. Hit me up on social media. Like, this is about telling it real and raw, but also like evolving, because that's what we're doing. Like, this ain't no like trying to be on no self-help, like, you should do this, you got to do this. It's like, no, I'm just telling you about my life, hoping it can inspire you. I'll listen to other people's lives and stories, and it inspires me. So I'm just hoping that your experience can be one that you're appreciative of. And if it's someone that you really want to challenge yourself, I'm telling you, New York has really built me in a different type of way. And I'm telling you, my experience and how I've navigated the city is different than many, especially ones that I've known that have lived here that are not from here. Like, it's how I've had to navigate is different. But I've had people that would tell me, and they were like, DeMarcus, you just got to keep pushing through. It'll eventually work out and it'll make sense. You just got to keep pushing. So I'm going to tell you to keep pushing. Just do it. Get to it. And yeah, allow yourself to just evolve in that type of way. So we out of here. Peace.